Without further ado, let's introduce our poets. We have, again this evening, 5 wonderful poets from the 4 corners of Connecticut in the central Hartford region. We will start this evening, you get my bios up here, with Arlene DeMaris. Now, Arlene is a freelance writer, poet, gardener, and musician. She plays the fiddle and the accordion, which is very, boy, if you could do that at the same time, you'd have yourself a bluegrass band.
Really? Or a circus act.
Her poems have been published in Naugatuck River Review, Rust Moth, Tupelo Quarterly, Connecticut River Review, yay, and Rattle. She received the 2024 Connecticut Poetry Award. So please welcome Arlene, and I will put her full bio in the chat. Welcome, Arlene.
Thank you. Thank you, Barb. This first poem was inspired by a Celtic tradition called Telling the Bees, in which beekeepers will announce family events to the bees in their care, family events like deaths and births, marriages. So this is telling the hive. Knock first to get their attention. Call them out of their city, away from their industry of pollen and wax. Break the news gently, inserting the name of your dead. Say what you've rehearsed about the comfort of ceremony, the soul waiting just off stage, and angels wandering in, taking their places on the ceiling. But in fact, you are here to multiply your grief by the number of wings that will carry it, to make a relic of sweetness, to say each absconding is new whenever it happens, and the ones behind it, the line so long it disappears. Tell the hive this is not the worst that can happen, but it is the last. Tell what you disbelieved that morning until the fog cleared and you saw its bare branches. Tell what the earth was doing to itself that day. The hills greening up, covered in starlings, pulling the pale, wet bodies of slugs from the soil. Thank you. This one is, when you ask about my grandchildren, I say the scar where my womb was cut out is a dirt road through fire-marked forest. I say imprints of fish have been found in shale in Wyoming, thousands of miles from the sea. I say the human ovum is an infinite set of nesting dolls telescoping. I say when I clip my fingernails on the patio, ants carry the crescent moons away. I say my voice has become a violin with all the strings missing, every word true and silent as my grandchildren playing in the next world.
It's beautiful.
17. The looseness of his age and a dozen beers save him. Walk the boy to the road and stand him up in my headlights, torn red flag of one hand waving me down. What is it the night's long arms love about a drunk? Its dim trees welcome mistakes. Its ditches cradle wrecks in skunk cabbage. Every 17 years, another child flown out a windshield, bent for good, stopping traffic. I hold his face to mine, who could be my lost child. Read the skin of his arm, blue with Bible verses, my fingers pure as well water and cold. Between his rips on the back roads and my rambles with the dead, grief blooms, while overhead in dark branches, giddy from their graduation dance, cicadas raise their saw blades, those strong yet clumsy flyers colliding with whatever crosses their paths. Instructions for use. This body may not be the one I once loved to flood with wine, eyes clouding over, brain in a jar, but it has fulfilled its purposes to play the accordion, to clean a fish, to stand by the stove when you cook, my love, and feel the bricks drop out of my wall, to let the sun connect the dots on my hands, to wear the drape of my mother's arms, her crown of thinning hair. I don't drive at night because I can't stand the dead hitchhiking the highways, but I can still crawl up a mountain and get caught in brambles. Let's plan an afternoon of uncertain pleasures together. We'll see how the view softens when it snows. All the junk in the yard, freshly vague. We may wake tomorrow, astonished to make it out of this dream alive. And how will we know if we don't? This one is called What You Were Looking For. I send you the video of goats eating a wheelbarrow of tomatoes, weird eyes half closed in ecstasy, jaws popping the red skins, pulp running into their beards. You say it reminds you of your last date, the one who smelled old, how it would be hard to love the speckled folds of his neck, the sad sack of his scrotum as you imagined it softly tapping your thigh when you made love. Dinner out in a nice place, and he ordered something with tomatoes, told you about his loneliness between bites and wayward feet beneath the table. Any wife long gone who could keep his manners in check. Oh, friend, call the man back. Never mind his red-stained shirt, the tremor in his hand inching toward yours. The mountains have been falling down for years. Ancient waves are beating the same shore senseless morning and night, and all the stars we see are dead. You and I are marching into the void, and who knows what form we'll take in the resurrection. Solid, liquid, gas, nothing is promised. Your date may hardly remember what desire looks like without the right glasses. He may call you by his dead wife's name and step on your feet when you dance. But doesn't everything hurt? This one was inspired by one of my favorite features on my meditation app. It's called Piano for Anxiety. I take a comfortable seat, open the app, and focus on the breath, even though this makes me anxious. The idea of prana, how we are born with only so many breaths, and which one did I just exhale, and how far from the last? Tell me again how this works. If so calm and soothing, why so many teeth? Driving and texting. In a photo shot from the Japanese moon rover, Earth rises over a gray horizon, spins its clouds and oceans through the deep arcade of space. A father drives the parkway to Newark, shares the image on his phone to insist the kids know how singular we are. All this pulse and clank of life lit with wildfires. Somewhere down there is home, he tells them. Your mother, your swing set, where you are standing right now, holding your juice box. Someone has spray painted, "Never will I leave you," Hebrews 13:5 on an overpass. God approves from the breakdown lane, shakes his infinite head at the joke, knows something he's not telling, laughs in that terrible way he has when we speak with him at our thresholds, emerging between the stirrups, burned to a mineral crisp. From everywhere he stands, our world is just one sea-licked rock with most of its barnacles caught in traffic. Father delivers the punchline with a straight face. I'll be home soon. And this last one, do I have time for another? Heaven and earth, the Celtic saying goes, are only 3 feet apart, but in the thin places, that distance is even shorter. A thin place. The newborn next door is still infinite, having recently washed up on the shore of her mother's dark sea. She has the saltwater eyes of one who has traveled on a thin raft from a thin place where we all have our ends and beginnings, the luminescent gap between before and after, just 3 feet high and forever springtime's birthing room. I think she may have a message for me. Yellow-green pollen sketched on morning fog, shapes and noises from my lost mother and sister, now hovering between galaxies a headache to think about, and the next room scented with roast lamb. Something like, did you remember to plant the crocus? Tell me you kept the cast iron pan. So I make excuses to walk across the waking lawn, bring cakes and casseroles and a soft animal for the baby, who each time receives me in her receiving blanket, fills her diaper, and holds out a wet red hand like a 5-petaled bloom. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, Arlene. Such great lines. I love the instructions for use, especially because I have a body that isn't doing quite what it used to do either, but beautiful poetry.
Thank you.
And what was the one line that I wrote down? My voice has become a violin with all the strings missing. Just gorgeous. So thank you. Thank you for your reading.
Thank you, Barb.
Next, we have a wonderful poet, Elaine Zimmerman. Elaine Zimmerman is a national policy leader for children and families, as well as being a poet. Her publications include 2 chapbooks, Rasp and Era's End. She received the 2024 Oberon Poetry Prize for her poem, The Guest. Other recent honors include the U.S. Secretary's Meritorious Service Award, which I hope she'll mention and talk about a bit, the Nutmeg Poetry Award, and the William Stafford Poetry Award. So please welcome Elaine Zimmerman. Elaine, tell us about your Meritorious Service Award.
I think I won't. I think what I'll do is because I'm seeing peers here who are federal workers.
Okay.
And what I really want to do is honor them.
Yes.
So I would like to take that extra talking time to just honor them and thank people who are here, who are all laid off by the president and are here at this reading. So I just really want to honor them. So that's my my choice, Barb, just because it's even so much more important. So
absolutely.
So there are 10,000 of us who were just laid off on April Fool's Day, and a few of us are here. And it was, and most from Health and Human, actually all from Health and Human Services under Secretary Kennedy. And it was the case that very early on in the new administration, there began to be a clarity that words could not be used that evoked certain messages. And that, in fact, if you used certain words, you were going to be fired. And in fact, if you use certain words, your programs would be deleted. And at the onset, there were 17 words that were used across the United States by artificial intelligence to determine what grants to get rid of. And I have written a piece that I'll share now that over time, there's over 100 words now that can't be used. And so it's a sort of form of erasure across the country that's happening. But this is 21 words. So what you're going to hear is the word that we can no longer use, and then a little bit under it, and then another word and another word. Forbidden words at the White House. Polarization. Torn apart to separate the beauty, break it in two. At risk. Arms thin as stick figures children draw. The mother faces the wall, has not eaten in 3 days. Diversify. Mix it up, the rice and beans, the money, round the bend in your brow. Belong. After school, the boys go to a club together, kick soccer balls around. When rain pours down like chestnuts pounding, they watch movies. Diverse. So many shells and seeds, footprints in the sand. Marginalize. To flatten, put under the page. Female, mother, daughter, billow, sail. What of this lace and broth do you still want? Cultural heritage, where we are from. Steps forward and back, under dams, over mountains, the reach as long as hope, or a young mare's mane. Trauma. So quick the wrong turn, wrong choice, then nothing. Pressed between wing and distant hum, taste of dust. Mental health. Someone keeps saying, all your fault, it's all your fault. Haunting. It captures breath, slows the bare feet. Breastfeed. One becomes two. The mouth latches on. Tribal. Together by land and sound, ghost dance everyone knows. Gestures are letters in the sky at dusk, purple as a dying heart. Institutional, long-standing, a structure, many stories to climb. Disparity, what you said then and what you say now are different. Privilege, rabbit jumps away as fox prances through. Stay here, ignore spirit memories. Excluded. Teacher told him to sit in the corner. Students laughed. All of the chatter like a train, fast and not stopping while they waited with suitcases. Barrier. The rat could not get through the home's foundation. Identity. Whatever he is, it isn't this. Seeding self again and again, dig, open, drop, cover. Racism, no place for you here or then or now, bend down. Anti-racism, endless kites fly in the sky, long fingers loosen the knot that ties the noose. Historically, cut it out, this remembering, catching data like lightning bugs in a jar. Empty this fast and now you'll feel it as stars fall, exploding mid-air. So I was thinking about how we are sort of being judged now by words, and that words have become dangerous. And people are now in the federal government literally ripping down children's drawings that have the word diversity in them, and are rewording grants to try to get the dollars because there's such fear right now. And so I have a poem that was from a time that I can remember where language really mattered, and where language and connection could save you from danger. So this is a poem that I wrote to my father. It's called The Hold Up. There you were collecting the week's money from the cigarette machine at Lenny's when he put the gun to the back of your head. And you, knowing this was the finale, invited him to drink. Pulled a new bottle of Seagram's and 2 shot glasses from the gold Impala, both of you sitting in darkness near the alley, wondering if you should slip out, leave him the damn car and save your skin, or drink on and on. You talked of women, his time in jail, laughed over slim escapes, the Brooklyn mob. Blackbirds sang above the corner market, hosed down for the day's mangoes and rum. You gave him quarters from all the machines, pinball, jukebox, candy, in one red plaid bag. Threw in a carton of Camels, wished him luck after such a great night. I loved you for this, turning danger to story, each plot putting the gun down and further away. Savored your knowing that one small connection might alter the plan. Laughter and rich tales would splice the ending if you could just get there in time. Words traveled a different alley, less dank and narrow. Nothing gone but a bag full of quarters, one night's sleep, and the vast terror between hunger and speech. I think the other thing that is so helpful now for those of us who are watching democracy just be undone step by step is looking at beauty. So this is for the season now. It's called Ode to the Japanese Cherry. Out of nothing but gray-stemmed reach, sudden furor of bud and flow. Pink blossoms, knotted bough, cheeks blush, no face can hold this rouge, taste this frenzied color. Branch tips push and latch onto air as if something's in the way, dense as dreams, a wandering panther's tail. What blows open sooner than spring's wide risk? Winds pick up, sweep the show's sway, budded flurry, it's raining flowers. A woman reaches up, her hand cups pink bursts falling fast. She becomes her own parasol. Flowers follow her whirl and spin, turn round in ballet. Faucet of lush comes pouring fast, thick in color. Beauty, such a fine lover, who needs touch? The lawn, a sheet of petals. The dancer's hands still high and pointed. Awe fills cracks like warmed embers. A different dawn. What was in the air, now on the ground. Curled, reach up, softly tucked down. And staying in this season where we have birds migrating and coming our way. This is called Instructions for Birdsong. I'm sure that you've been aware of people being told to turn the lights out at night when there's these large flocks coming from other places, passing through, if you will. And in Connecticut, we've had, 1 million come through this month. Instructions for birdsong. Have you ever cupped a dead bird in your palms? Small feathers crushed, tiny beak, eyes stare, and something sharp pierces, cuts breath. This soft bundle inside us, a flight of whimsy or noted hope, gone. Migrating birds crash one after another into bright buildings. The ruby-crowned kinglet, nuthatch, common yellowthroat, stunned and injured. Turn out the lights at night, keep song alive in the air. Plant shrubs and trees in vacant lots, dig deep. Our empty spaces want to know something other than ourselves. In holes primed for sapling growth, maples weave lush canopy, a round mauve cover. Branches curve like the heart. In bare places sow pine and sumac. Birds fly to city groves green with leaf shadow. Listen, on seed carpets, dark-eyed juncos and chickadees trill, and thrum their local tunes, common as words. This, how am I on time? Do I have, okay. So we all are aware of the bears coming out now. They're coming all over the place, and in our state, they've arrived grandly. So this is called The Guest, and it's a true story of a bear that arrived in West Hartford, Connecticut. The Guest. Bear comes to the party uninvited. He likes the look of the cupcakes. A child shrieks, Bear sniffing the red shirt buttons up and down her spine. Toddlers swept inside, positioned at bay windows in the kitchen, peering out. Bear slowly licks the tops off each cupcake, strawberry icing to his liking. Then chomps the vanilla cake bottoms in one quick bite, green paper and all. The children delight in his reckless manner and style. Enormity of one gulp. How much fits in a single paw? Lolling about, he reaches, scratches, pushes cups and plates loudly out of the way. The birthday boy is pleased and confused. Laughter, fear, and some kind of sadness mixed together like a messy floor puzzle. Where are the piled high presents, next to striped blue gift bags for each friend? Fat piñata hangs off the old oak, ribbons dangling low and soon to be clawed. It's like being at the city zoo for his party, but the bear is alone outside with the treats and shiny hats, and they are all inside staring out. So I'll read one last poem. This is for a dear friend of mine who died this week. Was just a wonderful human being, Dr. Lee Balance. And so this is in honor of him. It's very brief. And I wrote it when I was on a walk with him. Sanctuary. Canoe bleeds blue into dark green water. Reflections so clear, even myths disappear. The sky a vast nothing tumbling down. Bees and monarchs circle purple stamen, only Queen Anne's lace juts alone. Between rock and slant of vine, a cloud or two. Beware of nothing new, only tilt and timber of light. Then soft shiver of lark just before the loon cries. Thank you.
Wonderful. Wow, just before the loon cries. Such a poignant ending. And thank you also, Elaine, for talking about what you and your colleagues are going through right now. And those forbidden words tell us it all, the whole story. So thank you. Okay, next. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention, you're invited to write in the chat if you want to leave a comment about something the poet has read, a line, an image. It's always nice to have people react to your work. So feel free. And okay, let's keep going here. Next, we have a wonderful poet named Greg Coleman. Gregory is a poet, writer, political activist, and a master labyrinth designer and artist. Greg suffered a stroke on August 13th, 2022, which severely affected his right side, but he continues doing physical and energetic therapy as part of his recovery. After his stroke, Greg learned to write with his left hand, and every day since October of 2022, he has written a poem about his stroke and his life since its occurrence. So, Greg, welcome, and we look forward to hearing your work. Oh, you just need to unmute yourself. Oh, there you go. Great.
Thank you. Yes, I've had a stroke. I continue to produce poems and poetry to everyone. I think you get through anything if you have enough chutzpah to defy the medical science. So with that being said, The first group of poems is about me and the stroke and the aftermath. And the second group of poems are takeoffs on my father's poems or stories that he told us, my brother and I, as children, around 5 or 6. And these are my takeoff on them later on. So here we go. Uh, oops. My fingers. In the dim, with my eyes still focused on the memories of the night, focused on my right hand, my longtime companion, caught in the tryst of my stroke, caught in the dead zone with connection of my fingers, palm, right arm, wondering if or when they will meet again.
Wow. Whoa.
I continue.
Yes.
When I look back, I see myself a vague lump seeking to turn to speak, think in consecutive, connected sentences. I recall and not seeing. I recall looking and not seeing. I recall nothing of my first hours.
Oof. Oof. Wow. I recall.
My stroke hangs on. Each morning I awake to the same little reminder that I am a vast distance from where I've been when I walked in the trees, saw mushrooms, red, purple, a myriad of colors against the pine needles, brown as fall came. The mushrooms came in clusters and then stood quiet. This quiet, this stillness is the way that I must address the slow unfolding, the slow movements of the strokes unfolding.
Ah, beautiful.
And again, my left has a misconstruction. The left, the right, supposed to talk one to the other to provide a means to see the world a whole. But since 11 months have come and gone, and right has become unable to act or do or sense, oh, so many things that I know and I knew can grasp only a slim memory. What had been we the working of left and right. Now, when I focus on the left, I get a warmth, a buzzing in my left brain, and I know that I am experiencing the gap, the sense of loss as I look for the lost, the small horseshoe crab nestled to one in front of it along the edge of the canal as far as the eye could see. Too many to count as the tide washed him gently. In the night, the dim hours when the sounds of wind threshing the house, when the wind chimes play the tattoo, when the odd sounds seem to say a warning, I'm up listening, that moored as if I am a stranger, unable to choose between now and then, between the warning and the knowing, between the now of certainty and the now of the unknown. And the last one of the series, 1 year and 7 months and counting. I cannot really recall. I can only remember when I was able to walk, kneel on the ground, or even when I could wash my face with both hands cupping the water and feel my face getting clean. But I can't. I can't except remember the feeling. I'd lost count of the loss, the what could have been. I can't sit in my wheelchair, remember when I walk, um, could step 1 foot in front of the other, but now as I lurch up, sticking my balance, my right foot barely feeling the floor, I can press down the hall. My left foot, my right foot, seeking to find again the memory of how I could walk happily along the forest trail. I seek the path. I hold back the memory. I seek the forest trail. I try again. I try again. And now the poems of my father, which are about Johnny the Whale and himself. Under the stars together, Dad and Johnny float, looking up at the stars, see the Big Dipper, the belt of Orion, and imagine all the places they could go. And Dad began to tell of a trip to where the water was warm, the sea filled with fish, and the warmth of the sea, the glorious sea, and lead to the night of the flying fish. Too many to count. They seem to be everywhere. They were above the sea. They were flying above the ship's deck. They were as pretty as the albatross, except they were not alone. They came in pairs, in threes and fours. They came in whole phalanxes, as if the depths of the sea has endless denizens of myriad species, and only we could see them all as we floated there beneath the stars and float in the night together, float and sigh and then laugh and laugh together. And this one, the day in the sun without Johnny. It is hot, hot, almost as if the sun had gotten too close and the sun had burned us all. But then Johnny said, "Climb aboard, we'll go for a ride." And Johnny came, and I hopped on his fin, and we skirted the sandbars and headed towards I knew not where, but trusted Johnny to take me to where the magic hid a place known to whales. And so I sat back, lunging against his fin, feeling the breeze blow away the lingering ships and feeling the heat begin to drift away. I fell asleep, and the gentle voice of Johnny awoke me, and I was in a place of cool breezes where whales and porpoises and sea turtles and fly fish fly by, and I turned on Johnny's fin, seemed to lose my balance, rolled into the sea, and the porpoises came to play and flying fish to fly with me, and the whales came and Johnny, and we swam and laughed together. Dad and Johnny decide to take tea, to take a small break from shipping, painting, sweeping up the myriad debris, the deck, as if the fall had let loose on the sea, in the middle of the Indian Ocean, had become like a lawn back home, transformed to wonderful red, yellow, orange, maple, and black oak leaves, all thin memories of time past, time that had slipped to greet the sea and us as we sat and sipped and waited for the tea to cool in the hot afternoon sun. Johnny, Dad, and Johnny wonder. What to wonder about? There is the wonder about what is wonder, but after hemming and hawing, the two grow quiet, and quiet is the best place to wonder about wonder, which gets them to think like little kids. Johnny, I wonder what it would be like to soak the toes from a snake. Or Dad chimes in, I wonder what the bog mud sea's like. Or, or to blow air into a blowhole. Or to hold my breath until I blacked out. Dad and Johnny look at each other and laugh. And when they took in big gulps of air and laughed some more. And a short one to close it. Dad and Johnny are thinking of small and the big, of the many things that could not be weighed, measured, or caught between fingers and fins, are always beyond the known, and the caught beyond our ability to know. They rest in folds of sea grass, as if they were luxurious beds or chairs, or just being caught in a sea swirl and carried along in a tidal current as if they were a part of the living sea. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Greg.
Woo-hoo!
Just beautiful. They went from very, very powerful and courageous. In fact, if you check your chat, a lot of people commented on how brave the poems are, to just so heartwarming about your father and your brother and you. So I love the quiet is the best place to wonder about wonder. Great line. All right, so moving on to our next poet. Thanks again, Greg. Next up, we have Rhonda Ward. Rhonda served as the inaugural Poet Laureate for the City of New London from 2017 to 2021. Her poems have appeared in print and online, most recently in Poetry Magazine, a series of poems in collaboration with fellow Connecticut poets Marilyn Nelson, Kate Rushin, and Antoinette Brimbell. So Rhonda co-hosted the annual Langston Hughes Community Poetry Reading at the Mystic Museum of Art for 13 years. And please do check the chat. I'm going to post a longer biography of Rhonda. But welcome, Rhonda. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. And it is my pleasure to be here. It's good to see so many wonderful poetry lovers in this place. As you mentioned, Barb, I have been a part of this amazing collaboration with Marilyn Nelson, Kate Rushin, and Antoinette Brimbell, our current poet laureate. And it has been a labor of love, but also a learning experience. It is the Old Line Witness Stones Project, and I'm going to read a couple of poems from that collaboration. This first poem is for Jenny Freeman. She is a matriarch of the Freeman family that lived in Old Lyme, and this is called A Life in a Day. Jenny's The witness stone reads Jenny Freeman, 1748 to 1832, mother and grandmother, enslaved in this house by William Noyes, a good Christian woman. 1. Morning. Early mornings, before the sun has shown itself, before the noises have creaked across the wood plank floorboards of their chambers, I gather my family round the breakfast table. Nancy is 5 and saying grace for the first time today. Thank you for the stars at night. Thank you for the sun so bright. Thank you for the food you bring. Thank you, God, for everything. She sings songs the verse I have taught her as our little prince, hungry and impatient, kicks his feet while sitting on his father's knee. In these moments, we are more than a name on a list of possessions, more than bodies to be bought and worked. In these moments, we are mother and father, daughter and son, human beings, simply being human. 2. Midday. My prince has long been lost at sea, victim of the Barney helmed by Captain Ezra Lee. Of my babes, 3 have died, 1 remains, 1 enslaved Lord knows where. My young prince lives so honorably as to press upon the heart of his mistress. But Pompey, blind in one eye, half seeing in the other, never bothered with impressions. He secreted himself off in the black of night, only to be caught and brought back. Of all my losses, temperance pained me most. Good, good Tempe. She held to my skirt longer than all my babes. I could not be consoled at the hearing of her death. I wept and wept and wept until at last I slept the sleep of grief. 3, evening. This section is preceded by statement from our historian Carolyn Wakeman, without whose assistance this project would be lacking. After Jenny's death, Ellen Noyes Chadwick saved her Black ivory heart-shaped knitting sheath, and Dr. Richard Noyes kept her small Black teapot. 3, evening. After all these years, they have taken to calling me Old Black Jenny. I suppose to tell me from some temple-curled young white Jenny. I am old, but I am brown. Black is this old teapot gifted to me by Mrs. Noyes. Nancy, my first and last, pours a hot cup. We refresh one another's memories as we sit. Me knitting with the aid of this old black sheath, another gift received, some celebration past. I have knit a life, not with needles and sheath, but calloused hands and a sweat-soaked brow, with endless tears and desperate prayers. Though my life has never been my own, I have made the best I could of it. And the other poem that I will read from this series is for Jenny's firstborn, Nancy Freeman. She was a firebrand and a rebel, the way I saw her. I did not take the words from her witness stone because I did not feel they represented her fully. So this is what I took a phrase from the research of Carolyn Wakeman. Nancy Freeman, 1771 to 1853, baptized 1819, excommunicated 1830. Her life became increasingly troubled with alcohol. Desirous of her liberty at this time. Was there ever a time when an enslaved woman or man was not desirous of their freedom? Was the day before these words were written, or the years before that, a less desirous time? I carry the name of freedom, but not the fact of it. My legacy was bondage. The legacy of my children is bondage. How then do I reconcile this life? My condition has built in me an anger that scratches like a prickly branch every second of every day. It has made me as unruly as Forsythia and equally as uncaring about my unruliness. Hope is my only motivation. I put no faith in the God they try to force upon me. I commit my faith to I commit my faith to chance, to the possibility of liberty, not for me, but for my progeny. And I have been, um, one moment. Sorry about that. Have to, with Father's Day coming, I really wanted to honor my dad. He would be well over 100 now. He is a veteran of the Korean War and just a good man. This is called Daddy's Hands. On a Saturday afternoon, long past my mother's passing, I sit with my father on the porch, snapping pole beans. We pull whole beans from one bushel basket, break the flesh at the head, drop 2 or 3 pieces into another bushel basket that never seems to fill. He tells me he has been diagnosed with cancer, then says he should have been dead already. 70, he says. He does not look at me. I marvel at his hands, fingers thick, hairy at the knuckles. That's what the doctors gave me back when I had consumption. I have memorized the ridges of his nail beds, the arc of lightness at the base of each nail, the yellow tint of his hand skin. We drop the waste into a paper bag. Silence passes over us in a breeze that raises the hairs on our arms. We listen to the Cincinnati Reds on radio like in the old days. I was a detonation specialist in the Army. He calls it the Korean War. That means I blew up landmines. He looks at me now from the corner of his eye, head pointed toward the porch floor, face turned slightly for me to see his dark irises, and I am already praying for more days with him. And we are just past a year on the death of George Floyd, and I am wanting to come back to that simply because George Floyd was killed the day before my son's birthday. And I remember my son calling me and saying, "Have you seen the news?" And um, the shock that I felt at the boldness of the cop who who kneeled on this man's neck until he died. Um, so 2 poems. Um, this is called "This Is Why We're in the Streets," after the murder of George Floyd. because you ripped us from our motherland, because you used us to build this land, because you never paid us for our labors, because you sold our mothers, because you sold our fathers, because you sold our children, because you raped our women, because you beat us to a pulp, because you refused to educate us, because you called us three-fifths man, because you hung us from your trees, because you killed us in the streets, because you would not let us vote, because you would not call us man, because of slumlords, because home ownership is harder for us, because public assistance breaks up our families, because the books in our schools are often outdated, because our children have no access to technology, because our neighborhoods are food deserts, because we cannot afford health care, because we cannot trust you not to experiment on our bodies, because you have experimented on our bodies, because you brought crack into our communities, because you poured us into your prisons, because you take our votes for granted, because you have traded trees for bullets, because you have traded trees for knees, because you do not prosecute killer cops. And I will say that while Mark Furman was prosecuted and found guilty, cops are still getting away with killing Black men, Black people in general. It hasn't stopped. We see less of it on the news. And getting back to where we are with the administration today, um, diversity, equity, and inclusion, I personally see as an attempt to erase Black history from this country and to uh, make people forget, really. But here's the thing, the denigration of the word woke, don't believe it. You know what? Once you awaken, nobody can put you back to sleep. So I just wanted to share that. And yeah, this next poem, and I'm sure I'm close to my time, is called The Mothers, also in the same vein. There sit the mothers, dressed in black, mothers holding up mothers, all black, all wearing all black, black dresses and black hats, black skirts and black jackets, all in black pain. Recalling sons calling on their mothers, Black men with knees on their necks, Black men with bullets in their backs, Black preachers leading somber services in churches filled with Black pain. Black mothers wear to long to wear some red with their black, and purple, and gold, and royal blue. And this final poem, I hadn't planned on reading this, but during that same time, I lost a very close friend. She started my locks, and she passed away during COVID. And I wrote this poem for her. I've never really gone back and tightened it up. It just was what it was in the moment. For Jacqueline Marie Esther Calhoun. When I look back over all these years, the laughter, the tears, the hiding me out from watchful eyes, the opening up of all our lives, long drives for short visits, an exquisite friendship marked by time. You said, you said I sound like a white girl when we met. I will never forget how intrigued and perplexed I felt, not wanting to melt in the floor, more so wanting to know who you were. You were birthday parties and 70s funk, patio gardens and holiday gatherings, the things I'd grown up with and loved but lost. And you had paid life's cost with pain, yet never did complain. A warrior. You were daughter, sister, friend, mother, lover of people, your people, Black people. You were a comfort in the roughest storm, a soft, warm blanket to cover the hurts life must surely bring upon us, a person of trust whose truths were fair and just. Today, I think of you with sorrow's tears, but by and by will cry from joy of knowing you and we were all together here. Thank you.
Wonderful. Oh, so glad to finally get you on the program, Rhonda.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
Oh boy,
Absolutely.
great night. Thank you.
Thank you.
The poems are so powerful. The Black Mother's poem, well, all of them, but that was just phenomenal.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, next and last, unfortunately, we have Tracy Caldwell, who has a performance name, but I'll read the introduction. You'll get it from that. If Samson's strength was in his hair, Mind Evolution's strength is in her voice. Since 2000, Tracy Caldwell has made a name for herself as Mind Evolution. This spoken word artist is a powerful voice for women, the community, and for people of color. Her poems tell a story that transcends the space between the stage, the microphone, and your ears. She challenges the status quo and is at her best when she calls into the question the very things we hold true in this society. She unapologetically brings voice to the voiceless and will make you laugh and cry at the same time. Welcome, Tracy. We're looking forward to laughing and crying with you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. Rhonda, thank you for those poems. Those were beautiful. I was nervous, I'll be honest, because I'm more of a spoken word artist doing slam poetry. So I was nervous that I was going to be too like rambunctious. So just to give you a heads up, it's going to be I wanted to be a rapper more than I wanted to be a poet, but I don't have a lot of rhythm. So this is what it is. My first poem is titled Mind Evolution. I like to call this my signature piece, just to give people an idea of what they're getting into when they get with me, okay? Mind evolution, the element that reasons, the totality of conscious and unconscious mental process and activities, intellectual power or ability, a state of awareness or remembrance, a gradual process in which something changes into a different and usually better form. Like a quiet storm that builds, I sneak up behind you with words that heal. If words could kill, I'd be a mass murderer. They'll be saying things like, yo, you never heard of her? She'll take your head off and shove spoken word down your throat. Quickly put you back together before you croak, no joke. The sister wrote a rhyme that brought back a lifeline on a dead guy stuck in a bind between a rock and a hard place, selling rock on the paper chase. Got the feds on his case because he liked money at a fast pace, running so hard but still losing the race. Didn't have a father to embrace, so he smokes and drinks to try and erase displaced emotions of abandonment. Then he heard this poem and noted my lyrical content was created for empowerment with a dash of entertainment. This is why I can't contain this. My mind is in a constant state of involvement. I'm involved with everything while at this mic standing still because I took the time to read, didn't need to swallow a red or blue pill. I am a prophecy because when I was 12 years old, this moment is what the prophets would see. 12 years from now, they'll be talking about me in the past and future tense because I'm an ancestor and your next descendant, a relative that's always relevant, and you can't relate unless you've been through it. I don't talk about it, I just do it. Some said I couldn't, but I stand here in proof of it. Like Mira said, I am not just a poet. I'm a woman, full-figured and fully aware. My hair signifies strength, just like my words. I heard I'm ugly. by the world's beauty code, but a knockout by my own. Well loved and well grown, I'm a cutie that's juicy with thick thighs. I make rivers run dry, wipe tears of friends who cry, only deal with truth so I never lie. I spit rhymes. I'm an actress that can rock movie lines and red carpets with no panty lines. I'm building legacies so mind evolution never dies. Teach my children to do better so we always rise. Make you believe I heal boo-boos with one kiss. Hold the spot on your top 5 list. Carry worlds on my shoulders so I'm blessed with hips. I'm a teacher, a chef, and a maid that made standards rise. I set bars high while I get you high off information. My creation was not an accident. I was meant to stimulate minds and still breath. To recover from my loving takes 12 steps. I stay 12 steps ahead because life is like chess, and this queen is looking for a mate to check. And I'm not afraid to rock the angry Black woman banner across my chest because I was sent here to express where my sisters are coming from. We are diamonds and butterflies, but that image we have run from. And I stand here singing now for my brothers who've been unsung. Abdul, Daryl, Jason, Danny, Troy, Melaquan, Antoine, Dana, and Donnie, and for all the men standing far and near beside me who handle responsibilities and understand child support is all things and much more than monetary. I say things clearly so y'all can hear me. Life is merely decisions made during a survival test. And with that conclusion, I've just introduced you to mind evolution. All right, you guys ready for the rest? So this next poem is called Black Girl Magic. I did it in honor of my mom and my grandmother and like all the women who have come before me that, if you ever wanted to be a Black woman, pick something else to be because it's just hard. It's hard out here. So this poem is for the Black women. Black Girl Magic is how everyone hears my mother's accent except me. I wonder what she had to sacrifice to be called American. It's the ability to rep an entire race being the only brown spot in a bowl of milk. I am part of the beginning. Black women gave birth to the world and breastfed America. More than the sum total of our cornrows, overeducated, overqualified, always underestimated. Overlooked and mocked, simultaneously imitated by the critics like when 6th grade white girls didn't speak because I was different, but grabbed my arm to measure their summer tans against my melanin. Does not know my native language, but mastered the ability to code switch with articulate speech and elevated pitch. Said to be gravity-defying curls dripping in homemade hair grease. Can show up as a teeny-weeny afro, be 8 inches in burgundy tomorrow. Tastes like gumbo made in flooded Louisiana kitchens. As good as Patty Pie's 2015 Christmas. Clears throats that swallow pride for paychecks. Only earning 58% on the American dollar. It's calmness amid racist comments in the office. The mixture of Borican and Taino Indian, bonchinche and candles burning in Botanica, so full of the likeness of God it had to manifest through big lip kisses. Tough love whose timeout was sending me outside to get my own switch. Everything and nothing all at the same time, been told to sit in the back, shut up and take it, made to apologize for being a victim, accused of being promiscuous because of our curves, women secretly envy us, men openly rape us, Black women. It's okay to be angry and broken at the same time. We are not pillars of strength. It's a preconceived higher threshold for pain. Our magic makes the struggle look attractive, being told what we should become while everyone else is racking up bucks impersonating and selling Black girl magic. Imitation is not flattery when no credit is given to the original. God was trying to tell us something when Whoopi curled her fingers and said, until you do right by me, everything you think about is gonna fail. Black women know your worth. We were stolen because the sun reflecting off melanated skin shines like gold. We are still of the highest value. So this next one, Rhonda, thank you so much for your George Floyd poem because it gave me the strength to do this one. It's hard, like being in the Black community and you know that these things happen, whether they're on the news or not. And then finally something happens, and not finally, that's the wrong words, but 2020 gave us a lens that nobody could say, well, what was he doing? What was this? What was that? Like all of the things that we say before we realize like that an injustice has occurred. We try to say all the things to kind of justify the killing of Black citizens. And so this is what this poem came out of after I had an encounter with a coworker. Told I was falling for media tricks because I made an angry post about the murder of insert name of Black individual unjustly killed by a frightened police officer here. White people experience police brutality. It's just not publicized, she said. Knows me to be a caring, loving individual, but isn't so sure now because I suggested more people should be outraged when the police murder Black citizens. Made her uncomfortable, she said. I should change my stance because she's uncomfortable, but no laws have been changed because I'm frightened. We watch these public executions over and 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 over we cry, and over we are frustrated, and over we get angry, and over we protest, and over we are silenced until we remain silent again every single time. The media sure has tricked us with fairy tale lies about suits and ties making Black men invisible to police rage, while sagging jeans make them target practice. Bad cops don't see clothes. They just see Black skin as guilty and worthy of execution. Racial profiling is not an urban legend. Colonial invaders believed no country could govern itself unless there were a high degree of white people in charge. My ancestors were shipped to America to learn to be appropriate. Their descendants have been buried alive like coal miners in the years of oppression. We are not the violent ones. We suffer from PTSD, purposeful, traumatic, systemic destruction. Told to keep up with the American dream, got chained to the starting block at the beginning of the rat race, broke free, and get shot anytime we start catching up at the finish line. Land of the free. Built by the slaves no one ever wanted to be equal to. Forced to pledge allegiance to a star-spangled noose, Jim Crow never died. It just evolved into a 3-year sentence on Rikers Island, followed by suicide for a stolen book bag. Grew into the monster on the other side of the front door, making brown parents everywhere afraid to release their children into the world, destroying promise and hope. Thinks I'm seeking revenge instead of equality when I point out her white privilege. Sees me as the wicked witch of reverse racism, but she's always been free enough to tell me my anger makes her uncomfortable. Black people will continue to rise like the embers of our ancestors' ashes that rose from the fires that burned down Tulsa, Oklahoma. But if they won't stop shooting us, at least show a good cop arresting a bad cop one time so I can play that over and over and over and over. And then my last, well, actually I'm gonna do 2 more. This next one is called Voices, and I don't know, something popped up on my screen. It's called Voices. I was taught to be seen and not heard. Little girls who stay in their place grow to be adults with no backbone. I still struggle with standing up straight. Not too sure my shoulders and chin are in the right place. My voice has gained some bass since I was 14 years old. It's become increasingly agonizing not to speak up. My tongue gets thick and my skin starts to crawl, and the only resolve is saying how I feel. In conversation, I hate to be misunderstood, my intentions misconstrued, my feelings invalidated. It was prophesied I'd speak the word, but this mouth does not hold Bible verse or ladylike sentences. It's riddled with wish of would sentiments. Biting my tongue feels like suicide, and I'm not brave enough to take my own life, so I speak. For women who are accused of being too loud, even though no one is listening. Our stories cost more than anyone is willing to pay. I'm still speaking out of turn when we are not addressed correctly. This is revolutionary. My voice is my most prized possession, a concealed weapon no one expected me to bring to the table I'm not welcome to sit at, while discussing my uterus and what I'm allowed to do with it before, during, and after I reproduce with it. I'm shouting out for all the stolen bodies used for sex by respectability politics. My voice will whisper in forgotten women's ears. Whenever the wind blows, it will say, go forth and mess something up. I will not be quiet for anyone's enjoyment, not for egos or for profit. They will say I'm problematic, call reverse racism and toxic femininity, to confuse my liberation, to try to convince me being docile is the only way to be a real woman. I'll be silent after my words slit their throats and expose the lies told to us since childhood. Prince Charming is not real. Knights in shining armor still have to obey their king. Kings are only figureheads influenced by a queen. Know your voice is a powerful force no one can see coming. Real women know when shouting is necessary. And the last, but it's definitely not least. So This might be a little bit controversial. If you can't put it on the website, I totally understand. As an independent Black woman, it's been said that I'm hard to shop for. I've never been a girly girl, but I have been disappointed by a gift before. So I buy myself what I want. But if you want to get me something, make sure it's crushed petals wrapped in blunts. I want big flowers with loud smells and the magic to lift my spirits from a long day of hell. Leaves drenched in healing properties remind me that you care. I don't want roses in full bloom. Buds are prettier anyway. Cover me the way Juan loved Maria, and let's make a little white boy full of Mary Jane. It's good for any occasion on any day. Mother's Day, birthday, Christmas Day, Wednesday. Pluck it straight out the hood. I like to support Black owned because Tyrone and his bros paid the highest prices for the freedom to grow. I want to smoke. I don't need shame associated with my peace. Pipe down with all the comparisons to heroin. This is not a drug, it's a remedy. God put this here for you and me. Weed ain't never hurt nobody. The gateway it led me to was the pantry. I stay too long at stop signs and get lots of rest. Only thing left to contest are the Black and brown inmates still doing time for weed, while the industry got Apple stores looking like dispensaries, or how laws are still set up to trap urban communities. Give us free. It's only called cannabis when it's being discussed on CNN. They call it marijuana when the cops have broken in. And we know there are far more presidents guiltier than Bill Clinton of far greater offenses and way bigger sins. Roses are red and violets are blue. Crooked politicians keep bending the rules. They decriminalized the sale of weed, so only mediocre white boys couldn't lose. While women from the hood get their children removed, it's amazing how the mood around weed changes with the color of the people making the exchanges. But anyway, like I was saying, I'm really not that hard to shop for.
Oh, that's fun. Oh, this was a great night. I'm so glad that everyone came in our audience, and you five poets were just phenomenal. So, Lucy, thank you, and Ridgefield Library for being our host as always. And hope to see you all in September. Anything else, Lucy?
No.
Oh, except have a good night. I'm heading to the pantry myself.
No. All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.